from the mountains again. I'm on the Meeks Bay Trail here. An easier hike for me this time. Still have to climb 1,500 feet or so, but I'm doing it at lower elevation. And I got this long flat part to begin. Nice and flat. I love the string of lakes up here. Crag Lake is a real favorite. Camped there many times and had lots of good times there. Hoping I can remember where that great campsite is. I'm hoping it's still great. Crag Lake is where I saw a bear in Desolation for the first time. It's a fun story, I'll tell it later. But I've only seen bears in Desolation twice. This year and 17, 18 years ago when I was at Crag Lake. But I brought extra clothes because I think it's going to be chilly tonight. The lows are going to be lower than I've seen recently, and the winds are going to be significant. So we'll see. Hopefully it's not too windy. I like it a little windy. But if it's too windy, my tent blows around like crazy, everything inside it blows around like crazy, and I won't sleep. I really want to sleep. The temperature is going to be perfect for sleeping as long as the wind cooperates. I don't see a spider there. All I have is this little tiny view screen to look through. Very pretty meadow here at the top of the canyon. I'm now going to leave this little road. Road goes off that way. Trail goes off this way. And starts climbing. So no more easy flat walking to prepare. Oh yeah, this is the beginning of the Tahoe Yosemite Trail also. That terminates in Yosemite Valley. I think it goes all the way to the valley, over Clouds Rest, over the waterfalls. And here are all the restrictions. I'm high above the Meeks Canyon now. And going alongside the creek, so that the guidebook tells me there was a bridge I'm supposed to cross at some point. And here we are at the Desolation Wilderness boundary. I always get a little lift every time I cross into the wilderness. And having it be nice and flat here is going to make it even easier to get a little lift. Okay, but I'm going to pick up my pole and start going because I want to get some speed. Damn, this is some nice hiking here. It's almost cold, and it's just beautiful. I read that the bridge was out. It looks like they were half correct. The bridge is half out. There's a beast. finally made it to the General Creek Trail Junction. It goes to the right, I go straight. But here I am at Genevieve Lake. And I am doing myself a favor. I'm only a mile, maybe a mile and a half from my campsite. And I been feeling good on the trail. It's the steep parts really slow me down, but there aren't that many steep parts. Most of the uphill is gradual, and I'm okay hiking that. Feeling pretty darn strong today, even though mentally I'm really out of sorts. My mind was just wandering all over the place while I was hiking, but all of a sudden I'm here at Genevieve and I feel fine, but I am gonna take at least 15 minutes off. Pack is off. I'm gonna have something to eat. I'm gonna relax a bit, and then I'll take off to Crag, because I've done this before. I've gotten almost all the way to my target, and then suddenly I just hit a wall. And I ain't gonna hit a wall today. I'm gonna cool off until the sweat's all dry. I'm gonna eat a little bit, switch out my water bottles, rehydrate, and do that last mile and a half in really good shape. I forgot to mention that here where the trail runs into Genevieve, that's the trail junction I pointed out a minute ago. In between it and me is a lot of camping. It's a gigantic packer campsite here. Lots of tent spots, 1, 2, 3, 4 good tent spots. Of course, it is all within 50 feet of the water, and you're supposed to camp 100 feet away from the water. This whole thing here is not legal. I wonder what they do when they find people camped here, because that must happen a lot. But the lake looks nice. I seem to remember it as just being a little mud puddle, but it's just a step above a little mud puddle. It's quite campable. I imagine there are other campsites here besides this one. I suspect that there is one on the other side of the outlet. Over there. All packed up. I really couldn't sit still. I'm so close. It took a lot of effort just to stop there and take my backpack off, but I'm just a mile away. And I'm really anxious to get the camp all set up and let the relaxation begin. Wow, the lake is small. I've been walking for, well, as long as this video has been running, and I'm already halfway around the lake, and I'm not seeing any campsites here. Greetings from the east end of Crag Lake. I'm at the campsite I wanted. The other pair of campers are just around the corner, but there's all kinds of rocks and trees in between me and them. Won't be able to hear a peep out of them. And they're a very nice couple, my age or a little older. They just didn't know where the best campsite was. Plenty along the shore on the right, as I'm looking at. On the left, as you're hiking up from the trailhead. There's campsites all along the shore there that are too close to the shore and too close to the trail. And then there's this spot. One of the best campsites I know of. Has all this big rock down by the water here, which is always nice, of course. My only complaint is that that lovely rock is too far away from the bulk of the camp. But the bulk of the camp being far away from the lake is going to be a good thing today, because winds are going to be an issue later. And the farther I go back here, the more wind protection I have. Anyway, my lake is choppy. It's windy here. I don't know how well this thing can hear with a wind like this. This is a tall rock. That's an interesting tree. See that? Goes parallel to the ground, goes down again, and then just kind of climbs up the side of that rock. Tough life here. Bunch of berries. Lots of red berries. Do the bears like that? The couple that's camped nearby, close to the trail, they came from higher up, from, I assume, Phipps Pass or down there, and they said that they saw bear scat in the area. I think Rubicon Lake up there. Very fernsy down here. It's very dark down here. And the campsite next door is very nice. It's not terribly legal. Good wind breaks, except you're very close to the lake, which is going to be very windy. But that's a nice wall there. This is a nice wall here. A bit of a barrier back here, not much though. But good spot. I like my area better. Maybe mostly just for nostalgia. Stayed there at least 4 times. There's my food hanging. There is a creek in there somewhere. I was kind of following it. It clearly winds around and goes. I just assumed it came out right, near here, and went right down to the lake. But it goes over to that far eastern lobe of the lake, the marshy area over there. It just kind of is marshy. Okay, well that was a good bit of activity for pre-dinner. So I'm going to get my stove cooking here, get my, stroganoff steeping. Let it steep for 30 minutes. That's my new routine. And then I'll get to eating just as it's getting dark. Actually, there's still light up on that ridge over there. I should have at least an hour of light, good light. Okay, there's the stove stuff. I'm going to get to work. Just about to have dinner. I had to come down to the lake. It's very choppy. It's windy on the lake. It's not so bad back in camp. Just a little bit of sunset color over there. It's pretty. Okay, back up the hill. Get ready to eat dinner. Yum. Well, in my tent at last. I couldn't wait to get in here. I just wanted to lounge out and listen to some podcasts and get comfy and try to get sleepy and get a bunch of sleep because I need sleep. Everything seems to be perfect for a good night's sleep. It's not too windy. The occasional gusts don't rattle the tent around too much. As long as it doesn't get worse. It's really good right now because I don't know if you can hear it, but you can hear the wind swirling around on the walls of the canyon here. And when that dies down, you can barely hear the creek. There's a creek very close by. Can't see it, but you can hear it. Yeah, I can barely hear the creek under the winds right now. The wind's just kicked up. It's the close of a great day. I'm having a blast being at this campsite. There's so many memories here, and it's really nice. As long as the winds don't get out of control, then everything's going to be great. But right now, I'm just going to kick back and listen to podcasts and go to bed. Good night. See you tomorrow. Well, greetings and good morning.
from beautiful Crag Lake, which I suppose I should be showing you here. Those clouds are moving pretty darn quickly. This is a lull. It's been pretty windy, but as I recall, even on those windy days, there should be a calm spell coming up pretty soon here. It was very blustery last night, but I think I managed to sleep okay. I was in the tent for a good 9.5 hours. I slept a substantial amount of that, but it was pretty windy. I got up a couple times. Forgot to mention yesterday, my big blunder of the trip. Blunder number 1 is I left one of my meals. It's probably sitting on the kitchen counter somehow. My dinner for night 2 is that large. It wasn't in my bag. I think I left it on my kitchen counter. But for meals, all I have now is a decent helping of oatmeal and a breakfast scramble, a Mountain House breakfast scramble. That's 500 calories, so that'll do for dinner tonight. But I get no breakfast. All I get is bars today, and I'll have the oatmeal tomorrow. That was not the plan. The plan was to have the oatmeal today, dinner tonight, and the big 500 calorie bomb in the morning tomorrow before I hike out. Don't know. I might even consider leaving late today. It's supposed to be windier tomorrow, and I think it was supposed to be cloudy on one of these days, and there are a lot of clouds out here, and if it eventually covers the sun, it's gonna be cold. It'll be uncomfortable, and maybe I'd just rather go home, staying here late in the afternoon. I don't know. I had a weird incident this morning. Luckily, I turned over. I usually sleep on my side, but I turned on my back, post on, just in time to see a squirrel. I think what happened was it came running full speed across its known path, and it found a tent in its known path, and it tried to jump over it, and it didn't quite make it, but it scampered over the top of it somehow. Either that or it fell out of a tree. I think it had lateral momentum. I think it was running and literally jumped over my tent. I looked pretty close. I didn't see any little tiny claw holes in it. I'm going to have to take a really good look at that to make sure, because that was a little scary. I'm glad that I was on my back looking up to see what it was, or else I would have been totally confused. I would have had no idea what the hell just happened. It was a loud event, you know. Anyway, back to my tea, coffee, whatever. Bye. Wind is really blowing up there. Pretty dark cloud passing overhead right now. Interesting day. Stony Ridge. Cute little fishy. The little creek is actually quite interesting here. It's very little. There is very little flow. It's enough that I can hear it though. And there's some fishies in there. Great disaster zone here. I'm going to try to get back to camp along the creek. It won't be easy. I'm pretty sure I came down here and took pictures. So if I could do it back then, I could do it again, I think. Oh yes, I've been here before. I remember this little, tiny little waterfall. It's very cute. Kind of dangerous what I'm doing here. I'll just be extra careful. So that's where the creek goes. Ugh. My camp is across that. I'm not sure I can do that. Actually, maybe I can. I know I did it before. I'll try it again. Yeah, maybe I can make it here. I'm in the bear's domain. What do I do now? Keep going. And keep going. Yeah, this is probably how I did it before. It's a little dense there, but I'll make it. Good thing I have my long pants on. I can trudge through anything. Whoa. Actually, I don't think that's the way I went before, but I'm back in camp. Oh no, this is it. This is it. Well, that was kind of fun. Now, let's see if my food and stuff is intact still. I wandered away from camp without tending to my food. I just had that safe kind of feeling. And the food is just fine. Camp is just fine. Pair of mergansers hanging out. I think that's what they are. I can't see them very well from here. I'm on a bit of an excursion. It was cold in camp today. I kept trying to take layers off and was unable to. But finally I'm down to merely an exterior layer of nylon. And that gets me warm when I'm walking. Oh, by the way, I'm walking in the sun, but right now the sun disappeared behind a cloud and the breeze is blowing, so I feel just fine. I'm here at the creek that feeds Crag Lake. It comes from Shadow Lake. My little excursion here is just simply to find the trail to Hidden Lake and find Hidden Lake, which I don't think I've ever seen. I remember my college buddies went off to find it on an excursion one day. And I remember once looking for, the trail that is supposed to be, there's a trail junction off of this trail just on the other side of this creek, and I don't recall ever seeing it. So I'm gonna go look for a trail junction, and if I don't find it, I will scurry cross country a little bit after I take a good close look at my map. But there's this little knob here, I'm supposed to go over this little knob, and there should be a trail junction. Well, I will turn off the camera, keep my eyes wide open, because there may not be a post for it. Well, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm on a very old, unmaintained trail. That Tom Harrison dude puts a lot of stuff on the maps that haven't been maintained for a very long time. I'm a little annoyed. I'm going to give him a call. But that was surely the trail.
and there was no markings of it up at the real trail. You can just barely see. And the wildlife here is fluttering all over the place. Little birdies running all over the place. Little chipmunks running all over the place. I get the idea that people don't come down here very often. But what I saw from up high, I went off the trail a bit up there to look down and see if I could find the lake, because I figured I should have seen the junction by then. Looked down, saw the lake. It looked very pretty from way up there. And Hidden Lake's a good name for it, because it's really not obvious that there's a lake in the region here, other than Stony Ridge, which is farther away. But it looked pretty. I'm curious to see what I find. And wonder if I could... Oh, here's another trail. I wonder if this is just following the creek, because the outlet of this lake goes by Crag Lake. And I'm going to try to follow the creek back. And we've got a campsite here. A charming little lake with a lot of grass, but it is deep. Got some deep areas. All right, here's a little campsite. Very primitive, but it's very nice. I could easily recommend this for a crowded weekend when everything is taken and no one's going to find this. And it's pretty damn nice. It's got a nice view of the Stony Ridge. Windy as hell, but it is surrounded by rock everywhere. So I gotta think that this has a better windbreak than any other lake around here. But it's pretty shallow over here. There's this deep spot over there. Lilies growing on the far side. There's some grass growing. Lilies growing on the near side over there. Wow, ancient campsite. No one's been here for a long time. And that's about all we're gonna see of Hidden Lake here. It's well hidden, it's pretty. It's got one little campsite, but it's not a great lake. And the trail getting to it is really unmaintained and very steep. Interesting. It's a little lily pond here. I don't think it was on the map. I'll check when I get back. And a dry, raging creek bed below the Hidden Lake. And I just like the adventure of walking off the trail. Oh my God, look at that. Look at that. Just clinging to the top of a cliff. Isn't that something? Gotta get a shot of that. This is the far corner of the lake. This pondy stuff here is probably actually registered as lake. And I know where I am with respect to this stuff here. And I know that it's not going to be easy to get there, so I'm going to be cautious here. Maybe I should go up even higher here, but I'll chance it. Oh, it's really pretty. I'm really glad I did this now. Here's a good spot I can go down and get a good look. In fact, looks like I'm going to go all the way down over there. Here is the south west corner of the lake. A lot of wildlife here. It's pretty noisy. There's a duck just hanging out over here. Just doing whatever it is ducks do. He's busy. Full-time job being a duck. I'm making my way around the marsh now. I'm in this crazy fern zone. And I realize that I have been here before. Because I remember this. Magnificent slab of granite. Absolutely flat. Successful hike. My goal was to go out and see something neat, and not be uncomfortable while doing it. Not being too cold, not being too hot, and importantly, holy shit, that's bear shit. And holy shit. Okay, it's old. Well, it's at least a few days old. But this is a bear zone. Berries. Bears like berries. Are there those berries in there? Yeah, they're just brown now. Okay, well, glad I put my food up before I left. Hey bear, if you're around, please go away. Okay, I'm getting pretty close to that place I did that little cross-country walk over the logs. And I will try to do the same walk over the same logs. Interesting. Oh no, this is the creek. Okay, this is the creek from Shadow Lake. I thought this was coming from the marshy area, but it's going in the other direction. So I have to go on the other side of that stuff in order to find the route that I took yesterday. Shouldn't be too hard. I hope so. Arg. Can't quite get across that. Wow, isn't that great? I don't know what it is about granite. I just love it in all forms. It's just gorgeous. All right, it's getting very jungly here. Maybe this will get me all the way across. Looks like it will. So I guess this is a different route. Okay, this ain't cool. I got a water bottle in one hand and I got a camera in another hand. This isn't the most stable situation. What the fuck? I'm totally full of confidence. Oh, and it actually moves a little bit. I didn't check that first. Okay, but it is all of a 3-foot fall. Of course, anything can happen. So when you're solo, you be damn careful. This is just lovely. Glad I decided to stay today. Did I mention I was considering leaving early because it's so cold and so uncomfortable? It really is. I on my off day at Schmeidel, I was really uncomfortable because I was hunkered down out of the sun because I didn't want to be fried by the sun. Then the sun would be blocked by a cloud, the winds would kick up, and I would be freezing. So I'd walk out into the sun, and soon I'd be warm and taking off layers. And it was maddening, to tell you the truth. But the winds have died down here, so the afternoon should be calmish with gusts up to 50 miles an hour probably. But I suspect come nighttime, those gusts will go up to 25 miles an hour. Anyway, here we are. Home sweet home. Well, I decided to retreat to the tent for a moment. Well, for an hour or so. Just want to relax in a more stable environment. Outside it gets hot and then it gets cold and it gets windy and it's a little warm in here, but it's pretty stable otherwise. The tent is mostly in the shade, but it's mostly cloudy out there right now anyway. It's really pretty though. But I'm just gonna sit in here and listen to a podcast a bit. One problem was I was listening to a podcast earlier and the wind got so loud I couldn't hear it. So I'm gonna just relax in here, listen to a podcast a bit,
nibble some lunch. I don't have a real meal. I'm just grazing for my meal today. And I'll get up later. Well, I'm having a good time out here today. Again, I had a pair of rangers come through my camp, and believe it or not, one of them was the same one that came through my camp at Altamonte Lake about a month ago. That was a surprise. And also, oddly, they came down the same route that I did, from Hidden Lake. Seems kind of strange. They saw the same bear scat that I did and told me that there are plenty of reports of bear scat in the area here. So if you're coming around here, hang your food and do all the proper procedures. Here's a cool spot. I'm at the far southeastern edge of the lake, next to the scungy part, and I'm standing on top of this large rock. There's pine needles here and such, but there's no dirt. That's all solid rock. And look at all these trees growing out of this solid rock. I mean, it's not a forest, but it's several little trees. So here the pine needles are all blown away. There's just a crack this guy is growing out of. One single crack. It will keep going until it makes a huge crack like this guy. Amazing. Big rock. I like this. Oh, there's some ducks. Large ducks. Oh yeah, I saw them earlier today. They're a little nervous with me being this close. So they're definitely wild. Well, it's about 8:30. I'm done with dinner. And the air has been still for at least a half an hour. Just barely moving around a little bit. Don't know what to make of that. The rangers mentioned that it's going to be very windy tomorrow afternoon. Maybe this is just the calm before the storm. I'm sitting in the middle of camp right now, and I can hear the creek running for the first time since yesterday. It hasn't been this quiet since then. Very pleasant. I wasn't expecting this. I thought it was going to be blustery and cold. Quite cozy here. So I'm just sipping a cup of tea right now, and I'll get to bed early again. Hike on out of here tomorrow. Another beautiful morning here at Crag Lake. It wasn't nearly as windy last night as the previous night, and it's not that windy this morning, although it's getting a little blustery now. It's the winds are swirling. It's supposed to be very windy this afternoon, so I'm not going to be hanging out here late today. Nice view of Stony Ridge here. Getting windy again. Thought I heard somebody over here. There is a fisherman way over there. I'm thinking he probably knows just what he's doing. My last morning here at Crag Lake. It's been fabulous. I'm just sitting here waiting for my oatmeal to get ready to eat. I was invaded by fishermen this morning. There was that one guy that I saw on that cliff earlier, and then two more joined him, and they came through camp or around the camp and were fishing along the shore here. Seemed like nice guys. I had a nice chat with them, but they gutted a fish and left all the remains right on the best water collection spot. What assholes! How can people think that's okay? I don't know. Anyway, that was the only blot on a otherwise splendid morning. The winds really died down last night. I got a good sleep and picked up at dawn just right away. As soon as the sun came up, the wind started swirling. And
pushing these clouds by. It's just gorgeous. I love watching the clouds just rolling by, and they're rolling by pretty quickly. I'm not used to seeing clouds moving so fast. I love these little pine cones, totally covered in sap. Man, they must weigh a couple pounds. I'd hate to be hit on the head with one of those falling. They're oozing. No wonder there's so much sap around here. It's noon and I'm just heading out, and there are whitecaps on the lake today. Damn. So it's going to be a cool hike out. I'm in long sleeves, and I have more warmth at hand should I need it. Ooh, it's going to be blustery just as I get out of here. It's supposed to be extremely windy afternoon, and it just turned noon. Alright, farewell Crag Lake. It was fun. They're typical of the campsites I've seen along Crag Lake here. I saw a whole bunch of campsites along the eastern shore. But I'm standing on the trail. This little tent spot is 20 feet from the trail and 50 feet from the water. Clearly the people are allowed to camp here, even though it's way closer than the 100 feet. The rangers did not do anything to block people from camping here, like they did back at my place. They saw a little fire circle and dismantled it and threw the rocks from the fire circle onto a tent spot that was too close to the river, too close to the water to be legal. But they don't do that here. But I'm just tuning in here to tell you that if you are walking in from Meeks Bay and you're dying for a campsite, do not settle for these. Go past the lake and then make a right on the trail. And the campsites near the inlet for the lake, that's where you want to camp. There's it's basically one big huge site, but you can divide it into 3 sites, and they're all better than anything else you're going to find over here. The coolest part of the trail. And the winds just kicked up. The sun just came out. It was away just a moment ago. Descended into this forest and it was cold. And it's wonderful. I've been hiking for a couple of miles now and literally haven't broken a sweat yet. Literally. I'm dry. Clean and dry. Just walking through the woods with 25 pounds on my back. Not that you'd notice. My joints notice. For the rest of me, this is just a piece of cake. I'm in my car. Oh, and I just closed the door and turned it on, and it's so quiet. The wind has been ferocious all day. But damn, I powered down that hill. I got down faster than 2 miles an hour, and it's the first time I've done anything 2 miles an hour in a while. Great trip. The wind was a little challenging, not bad. It made things cool. It made the evening sleepable. I slept well both nights, thank God. And the hike down, I didn't break a sweat for the first half, where it was higher and cooler and more shady. The long flat road, I did break a sweat because I was going real fast and I did not want to stop to take clothes off. Great trip overall. It's the Friday of Labor Day weekend, and people are piling in on this not very often used trailhead, but they are piling in anyway. Okay, signing off from Meeks Bay Trailhead.